Welcome again, NorCal Sports Network, and we've got a show tonight. We've got, as you can see, the great Marty Lurie joining us. Welcome, Marty.
Hey guys, how are you?
Good.
How's it going, Marty?
All right.
What a game out the yard today. Marty was there. I was there. He had a better view than I did. He was in the press box. I was down with the, with
24,178 today.
Yeah. It was. I'll tell you, it sure felt nice being inside and then sitting outside and playing in 112 degrees out here today. It was hot today.
That's what we call Arizona.
Yeah.
And we have the heat dome that tomorrow will be 112 around here tomorrow. So
yeah,
interesting. But yeah, thank goodness. You got to think about the A's thinking about playing in Las Vegas. You know, you'd have to have a dome stadium there. I don't know what they're thinking about.
Are they not building a dome, or
they have to? I don't know.
Yeah,
we've never really seen the actual renderings of what the actual stadium will look like, but it would have to be something that's covered, because people don't understand. When you go outside in weather like this, it's like opening the door to an oven.
It
or
is
microwave or something like that. I mean, it is really, really hot.
Yes. And well, let's get into today's game, and then we'll get into the Giants as far as the direction, the season, the future. So give us a recap of what you saw today and what's been happening with the club, Marty.
Well, we saw, first of all, they played a team that really was in some disarray today. Jordan Montgomery, like Blake Snell, was a late sign and didn't have spring training. And it looks like he's put on some weight. And Montgomery just was awful today, and not challenging, not coming into the strike zone, 3-2 counts all the time, just like last night. The Diamondbacks had 14 3-2 counts.
Yes.
That's how wild their pitching was last night. And it was sort of the same thing with Montgomery today. And, Arizona got a run early off of Hicks, and Hicks is another one. He's got that big fastball, and he doesn't throw it enough. He's throwing a lot of splits and a lot of sliders, and he really didn't have command of it. So they got a run off him in the first inning, a big 2-out hit by Gurriel, I think, that drove in a run. And you say, here we go. They're down 1-0 already. And then all of a sudden, they just exploded the second time through the order. And Ramos came up and just hit a home run. And Dan, you saw it. For me, I was saying this to Eric, like Soler does later on in the game, as soon as the ball was hit, there was a noise. And, you're indoors, so the noise is magnified a little bit. But the ball was just crushed to upper center field. And, as I was sitting with a couple of, writers and stuff like that, and, the phrase, that's a big boy home run, comes out, and put them up 2-1 at that point. And then they kept pouring it on. And this is good, to see a Giants team do this, down the batting order, a single here, walk here, Soler gets on. And all of a sudden now here comes Flores with the bases loaded.
Oh, man.
And Montgomery came into him, and we've seen Flores do this a million times. When he pulls the ball, and he pulled it and got under it and knocked it out for a slam, and they had 6 runs.
Yeah, just like that. And, the amazing thing was the biggest shot, though, was Soler's. He really got a hold of that one. That was a shot.
Well, that's another one. When he hits it, they're gone.
Yeah.
And when he hits it, he just drops the bat. Right. It's really interesting to watch him. Now he hit another one with the bases loaded. Look, they had the bases loaded a bunch of times.
Yeah,
bases loaded, nobody out, and they couldn't get a run.
Yeah.
A guy hit a ball like 110 miles an hour down to Eugenio Suarez at third. It was a great pick.
Great
and
pick.
Went home and got the force at home.
Yeah.
Then another ground ball to third. And they went home and got that force on Flores. They almost doubled him up.
Yeah, we were talking about that. Los, who was in our show quite a bit. I was at the game with him today, and we were commenting on, man, Flores is pretty slow-footed, and that was a very slow developing play. It was a slow chopper to third, and they almost got two.
They almost doubled up, but that brought Yastrzemski up with the bases loaded, and he goes 3-0. The guy is always in a hitter's count, always in a hitter's count. It's really interesting. And they got it to 3-2, and he was really upset because they called the real,
called the strike two call,
the second strike.
Yeah, it was pretty borderline.
Then he flew out to left field, and that was the end of the inning. So, but then they added on, which was good. There was a game. The Diamondbacks fought back to 6-3, and then they added on in the 8th inning and made it. It was 7-3 with the home run by Soler, and then 2 more runs to make it 9-3. So it was a good win. They did leave 16 on base today, which was kind of crazy, and they were the beneficiaries of 10 walks. So,
wow.
Look, the Diamondbacks were just worse than the Giants today, but the Giants really, when they did that 6-run rally, they went, I think, 8 batters in a row without making an out. They went right down the lineup, and that was impressive today. Chapman had a few walks today. Estrada hit the ball well today. Fitzgerald stole a bag, and he was fine at shortstop today. He didn't do anything bad. But it was interesting for me when the Diamondbacks got back in the game. Jock Peterson, he's their big hitter, and he only plays against right-handers, that kind of thing. We've seen this before. And he comes up with the bases loaded, and he works a walk. And he took a pitch that was like a half inch off the plate. And I said to myself, he is the guy. This is the old Frank Thomas story. You got to hit the ball here, pal. A walk doesn't do you any. You're the guy. You got to hit the ball and bring your team back in the game. And he was so happy that he got ball 4 and a close pitch, and they got 1 run out of it, and it was 6-3, and then that was it. The Diamondbacks were shut down.
Yeah.
And it made me think, something? Hit the ball. When you're a guy who's in an RBI situation, if that ball's a millimeter off the plate, swing. It's okay.
How about Tucker Barnhart bunting with a 2 down 6-1.
Yeah, well, it was first and second. There was nobody out, and Tucker Barnhart is hitting 150. Was up.
Yeah.
So it's the old story. If you think you're going to hit into a double play, strike out. Well, instead of hitting into a double play, they told him to bunt.
Yeah.
And he popped it up, and Hicks caught it, and that was the end of him. His next time up against Miller, who's a lefty, who throws so hard, Tucker Barnhart never even took the bat off his shoulder. He just looked at 3. He was hoping that he'd get a walk out of that, but he didn't. But the Jock Peterson thing really showed me something today. When you're an RBI guy, and you got to go out of that strike zone a little bit, and Soler will do it. Chapman will do it from time to time. You can't be looking for a walk when you're that 3, 4, 5 guy in the order.
Didn't it look like Yaz was kind of doing that, though, with the bases loaded? It looks like he was trying to take that walk.
Yeah, absolutely. He's trying to wiggle a walk. Come on, man. You're in a hitter's count constantly. 3-0, 3-1, 3-2, 2-2. He's always it's amazing to me. The guy's hitting 210, and he goes up there, and the pitchers, he's always ahead in the count. And then he'll pop up, and he'll run into one every once in a while. But, he plays good defense, and, that was fine. When we got there this morning in the clubhouse, it was obvious. Everyone was saying goodbye to Matos, So I looked and I said, I think something's up here. They were hugging him and shaking his hand and all that. So the clear move was going to be Slater because they needed him to play center field if Matos is leaving. So Slater's back. And
there's the comment right there. Start with the elephant in the room. It says the comment.
So the other thing was, I asked Bob Melvin this, before the game in the scrum. I said, what are you going to do in center field when Slater's got to face a righty? And he said, we're going to put Ramos in center. So, and Ramos made a hell of a catch in left field today to get the Giants out of trouble early in the game, down the line. I mean, that was a great catch that he made.
Man, he's been playing great in left and right. He's been making plays on the run.
if he can play center. But when they face a right-hander, they'll put him in center. They'll put Conforto in left, and Yastrzemski will play in right, and Slater will sit down at that point. So that's going to happen. But
you don't think they're going to put Yaz in center?
No, Ramos is going to play. According to Melvin, he said Ramos is going to play center.
Interesting.
Wow.
And I did ask him that today directly. I said, "What are you going to do? When you get that?" But I think the most important thing today really was Ramos. And Dan, you were there. You saw it.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy had a great eye today.
4 walks.
He didn't chase. 4 walks. Deserved 4 walks. He really did. He battled to get him. The single was crushed. The home run was crushed. And he was on base 6 times today. And that was a big deal. They don't have a leadoff hitter. Right. Wade was the perfect leadoff hitter, getting on base, for 48% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no leadoff hitter. So Eric was asking me, what do you do? I leave Ramos in there. Yep. Don't mess with him. Soler broke loose today a little bit, and I'm going to say it. He's close. He's getting pitches to hit. His timing is just off a little bit, but he's going to hit, and he's capable of carrying the team for a week or 2 weeks. Chapman is a tough out. The beginning of the year, 95, 97 up in the strike zone, he couldn't catch up to anything.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They'd strike him out all the time. He's a tough out now. So I would leave that 3-4 thing alone. And if you need Flores in there in the 5 spot because Wade is out, and I guess Trenton Brooks will get some action too. He'll be on my show Saturday. Nice kid. I guess do that. But I would leave Ramos there, Estrada second, and then go to your 3-4-5 with Conforto and Soler and Chapman, something like that.
Yeah.
All right. And with that, since Dan was there at Chase Field, he actually called the Elliot Ramos home run.
We were live on the show.
Live.
I'm impressed.
Hit the famous 756 in Oracle Park. What's got the wrong one there?
Long drive to deep left center field is in the park. It is gone. Elliot Ramos. That's where we go. Elliot Ramos. Yeah, baby. There is your future right there. That's what you play.
Who was that? Is that Dan?
That's Dan.
Man. 2-1 playing.
I didn't know it was so loud.
No, it was a good call. You just had it in left center instead of right center. But other than that, it was a good
No, that
call.
was a left center.
No, it was right.
Yes. No. Ramos?
Was it left center? All right.
Yeah,
maybe.
left center. Left center.
All right.
Unless I was watching the wrong game.
It was gone. It was.
Yeah.
Because center fielder went back, and then looked up. And once he looked up, you knew it was trouble.
Exactly.
Yeah, I when it first left the bat, it sounded like it was gone, but then it was high, but it was like because he hit that one really high, so it took a while for it to come down. And I was thinking, as I was watching the center fielder, I was kind of looking. He first looked like he had a beat on it, and then he kept looking up.
Once he looked up, it was over.
Yeah.
But what do you think of Hicks today?
Here's my issue with the Giants. They have one pitcher in Logan Webb that can go past the 5th inning. That spells for trouble in August. They are going to wear that pin out because Hicks can't get through the 5th. He only got through 4 today. Snell, we know, can't get through the 5th. Then they've got
Harrison will take you 6 or 7.
Harrison may be able to,
but they're going to limit him.
Yeah,
right.
And then, my concern is this
Keaton
pitching
Wynn will
staff.
be back.
Yeah,
and Keaton Wynn's capable of 6.
Yeah, my just biggest concern is durability with Wynn. This is the second time with the elbow, or third. Had last year spring training, waited, then he had it again. And then we've got the issue with them not being able to go deep in not just games, but for a season. Hicks
Yeah.
hasn't, and Harrison have no longevity.
The part of baseball is when we get there, let's see what happens. First, get there. First, get to that part of June or July or the beginning of August, and let's see what the record is and what they've done up to that point. But, maybe Wisenhunt will be ready at that point. Maybe, and let's talk Farhan a little bit because I know you talked about him a lot. I personally believe he did everything he could to get this team in a position to be interesting, which they are. People are coming out to the park. I mean, of course, the Yankee series, a lot of Yankee fans, but, 35,000, 34, 40. And, unless you got the Nationals on a Tuesday, people are coming out to the park. The team has created a buzz, with the winning streak that they had. Now they've lost 6 in a row to win today, and that's the rhythm of a baseball season. But I think that the team is picked up some interest, and I think he's done everything he can to do it. And look, he took chances with Snell. Snell is never going to opt out. Snell is here. You better get used to it. And he is a second half pitcher, and let's see if he can make it happen. But he brought Soler in, and we've got Soler here for 3 years, but he did bring in a guy who's, we're talking about, capable of carrying a team and being able to do it. And you've got Hicks here, who is a starter, but if he's not going to be a starter, is a heck of a relief pitcher for an inning. Come on, are you kidding?
Right.
That kind of stuff. So the Tom Murphy thing was a stretch. And, to have a guy who's been hurt constantly to commit to 2 years kind of messed up the catching situation a little bit. That one, but Ahmed fell into his lap, and we can't wait for Ahmed to come back. You can't win without a shortstop. And, I don't know who the backup's going to be, but Ahmed has got to get that job back. So you have him. So when you look at 6 or 7 major leaguers that he brought in people, and then you look at Chapman. I mean, Chapman's legit, and Chapman's not going to opt out. He's got such a contract for good money over the next couple of years that if he goes back on the market, he's not going to get that kind of money. Look, there was no market this year for these guys. That's why they signed so late. The market is sort of dried up for players like this. So they're not having great years, 60 home runs where, they're going to walk into the market and people are going to go crazy. They're the same players again. So they're not going anywhere. But he did bring in major league players. So I know that, your point is, break it down and let, the young players play. But they may not be ready to play. You've got to blend them in. And I think he did a decent job. I really do.
Oh, I gave him a B+ in the off season because I was for the Soler signing, the Hicks signing. I was even for the Snell signing because they needed pitching at the end.
Absolutely. No, when all this went down, these were moves. You were there in spring training. We talked. But when these moves went down, they were moves that, they had to make them because they didn't get the big tick. They didn't get Yamamoto. So they had to go for Snell. They didn't get Otani. So they had to go out and sign Lee, who got hurt. Lee was terrific. He had his shoulder surgery yesterday, and I talked today to a couple of the medical people, and the surgery went well, 6-month rehab, and they feel he's going to be fine. But when you look what Farhan did, and I know it's easy to bash Farhan, and we've certainly done it over the 5 years because they didn't do this over the 5 years. They've done the other way of trying to piece in lightning in a bottle kind of people, which I'm tired of that. But I think he really did try to get it to happen.
I think he tried. You have to give him credit for that.
They may win with these guys. When you look at this wild card thing, and Eric and I did before the show started, let's concede Atlanta. And let me tell you something, Atlanta is no picnic this year. They've got a lot of trouble.
Yeah, a lot of injuries.
They'll be good enough, I'm sure, to get a spot. The other 2 spots, honestly, and this is only June 4th. What is it, June 5th? Where are we? June 5th? 5th. Yeah. This is only June 5th. There are literally, without stretching it, I'm not going to put in Pittsburgh. I'm not going to put in Washington or the Mets or something like that. There are 7 other
Oh, yeah.
teams that have like 31, 32, 33 losses. We've got 98 games to go. 99
Yeah.
games to
We
go.
did a little exercise last night on the show and looked at the standings.
It's
Looking at the trade deadline coming up at the end of July, we figured that there's 25 teams of the 30 within striking distance of a playoff. But let's say it whittles down to 20. Some of the teams are going to fall off, but there's going to be about 20 teams. So it's going to be difficult to make trades and get some key impact players that I think the Giants are going to need, because I think their holes are going to be starting pitching when it looked like it might be
Robbie Ray back. So
yeah,
who are you going to seriously? And now we talked about this today in the you know what life is like in the press box. You got nothing to talk, and we talked about today. Who are you going to take out of the rotation, or what are you going to do with your pitching? Let's say all of a sudden someone Jesus Luzardo becomes available from the Marlins. All right, get Jesus Luzardo. Where are you putting him in this rotation? Where are you going to?
I could find a spot. I think Hicks is going to be by the time.
Where are you going to put Hicks?
I'll put him in the 8th inning. You know, he'd be my. I'll close with.
You're trying to make it like a 3-headed monster. Remember the Kansas City Royals of 2014 and 2015?
Yeah. Look, the Padres did it with Bochy for years. You know, the bullpen, and all the great teams. The Yankees did it. I said it on the show with Rivera and Wetland. You know, they did, but they've got this Rodriguez kid. And they do have both. The lefty Rogers deserves a lot of credit. This guy was an all-star closer. They're using him everywhere. He comes in the 5th inning. He comes in the 7th inning. He comes into the 8th inning. He's been very valuable. But yeah, you could put Hicks in the bullpen, and with Duvall, you could do that. But I think the priority really is going to be in the outfield for me. I
think they're going to have some spots. I mean, here's my thing on this, Marty. I don't know how you feel about it. I think the 3rd wild card is a detriment to teams like the Giants, because I think it's fool's gold. It makes them feel like they're really a contender when they're really just a 500 club.
Tell that to the Diamondbacks.
Well, yeah, they happened to get a little fortunate last year.
Baseball has changed.
Right.
It is a game of getting 3 starting pitchers and a bullpen and a little bit of defense and a couple of guys who can hit. All of a sudden, if you want the holy grail of the playoffs to win a championship, you can do it with that formula. You really can, and that's the change in baseball. This is not the marathon 162 where 4 teams get in, and that's it. No.
Yeah, I mean, I see it. Yeah, I mean, and it's the way it's set up with the first round 2 of 3, and then it's 3 of 5, and then 4 of 7. I think baseball has to do something to change the playoff format. What I think they need to change is the teams that get the buys, the first 2 teams that get a buy, they need to make the guys that are in the wild card round, they need to have that series start on Monday and have it in by Wednesday at the latest. And they need to be playing. They don't get a day off until they start the next game Thursday at the 1st or 2nd seed is home, and they don't get a day off until after the 2 games. It's a grind, and 162 sits for 5-6 days after having a great season. It's not like football where you want rest. You don't want more than 3 days rest in baseball.
Well, maybe. I'm not convinced of that scientifically yet. You set your rotation, perfectly. You get everything ready. And just because you don't play Sunday to Friday, you think that, you can't hit anymore after playing for 7 months? I don't know. I watch a lot of guys. I watch a lot of guys that miss 2 or 3 games, and then it takes a couple games for them to get their timing back. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think the Giants, in my view, I think they're going to be in it because I think that's the way baseball is today. I've said on this show many times that they're going to hover. I think they're going to be a team that hovers between 5 up and 5 down all year. I don't think they go over 5 games over 500, and they probably don't go below 5 games.
Maybe not. But
and
look, they're going to keep your interest into September. And that's what a baseball season's all about.
Now
you're going to be making the same complaints in September as you're making in June.
Yeah, my thing is, and I know we got a lot of people that have said so, and a lot of people have been upset. I don't feel like the Giants have treated some of these young kids the right way. And
here we go. Here we go.
I think the way, yes, Luciano was having a struggle in the field, but he was hitting.
He's not a shortstop.
Right. But whose fault is that?
Well, he's not.
But whose fault is that? The Giants didn't know this. The surprise this year, all of a sudden, the Giants don't know.
Well, that's why you're in the minor leagues.
But why aren't they moving him to a corner spot in the outfield or first base? Because he could learn first base. The Giants don't have, other than Wade, third base should be a 25 minimum home run position. And the Giants don't have that. Luciano could be that guy. Why not train him? He's a shortstop that he's not great at shortstop, but he's got the talent to field at first base.
Well, I want to see the bat first. Yeah,
I think we were seeing the bat.
When I see the bat, it's a major league bat. His bat reminds me of Ramos last year.
Yeah.
When Ramos came up last year, I saw the bat speed. And I said, all right, he's striking out a lot. He's reaching, he's this and that. But boy, that bat speed, I saw it and I said, wow. And I've said this on the show. I mean, it's documented. I've said it, and I said it this year. And that bat speed plays. I think Luciano's in that stage right now. And don't forget, Ramos is 24 now.
Yeah.
Luciano's 22.
Correct.
I'd like to see Luciano have a year somewhere with the bat playing, where the bat talks. Then we'll talk about a position for him where he can play. But the bat for me is not ready yet. It's going to come. I think the bat's there. But I'd like to see him have a full year. So if you want to talk about development, I wouldn't bounce him back and forth to the big leagues because he's not a shortstop and he's going to kill you defensively. And the bat's not ready yet. So I'd like to see him in Sacramento and leave him in there for 2 months and let him play.
Well, they need to, yeah. I can see that. He just needs to play. But I wasn't fond of the idea of him. I know he messed up in the 9th inning a couple times. I wasn't fond of him, though, sitting for 4 straight games. It felt like it was punishment.
No,
because
you can't do that to a kid. He's got to play.
Yeah.
And if he's not going to play, then he doesn't stay in the big leagues. That's Matos. Matos he couldn't stay. He couldn't sustain it anymore at the plate. So Slater's back, and now Matos becomes the extra guy. And we saw him, but he ended up being Matos of last year. He was hitting 220. So he had the great week like Schmidt last year. He was Schmidt of last year. Matos was at this year.
Yeah, but don't you think on Matos? I mean, this is my take on him. He had an unbelievable week a couple weeks ago. Last week was awful. Isn't there a balance that he's somewhere probably in the middle of those 2 weeks? He's not as bad as we saw last week, and he's not as good as no one. But
he's not a leadoff hitter. He's not a
leadoff hitter.
He's 5 for 40.
Yeah, they put him in the leadoff spot, and he's more of a guy that's up there looking to drive the ball, and he's not patient enough.
Well, look, Slater's
to be a leadoff
back.
Hitter.
What are you going to do? What would you do? Slater's back, so someone had to go.
What would I do with what I would have done?
Yeah.
I would have tried to trade Slater. I would have just moved off him. You can't tell me, Marty, that Slater's ceiling is higher than Matos and that his floor isn't lower than Matos.
Well, I think you're paying Slater. First of all, no one's going to give you anything for Slater now because he's
$4 million
too much. So you're basically saying you're paying him what, $6 million, whatever he's getting paid.
He's getting $4 million.
$4 million. So you DFA him for what? He is a major league player, and you're going to get rid of him to put Kyrie Matos?
Yeah, I would. But you know what?
Yeah.
I wouldn't carry Matos to sit him on the bench
But that's
because
where he ends up.
he needs to play. And that's why Slater's on the,
Yeah,
but
but how you gonna play a guy who's hitting 180?
who's hitting 180?
He wasn't even hitting that. He was 5 for 50 or something.
Oh yeah, for a
Matos.
period, but he still has a higher batting average than Slater, who's hitting.
Well, Slater was
120.
hurt. I'll give Slater a chance to see.
I've seen enough of Slater. He can't hit right-handed pitching. He's a specialist. He faces left-handers who only pitch 30% of the time because 70% of the pitchers.
I'm looking at the notes. They took Matos out already. So
yeah, I just think this is the problem why a lot of fans are upset.
Yeah, Slater's no gift. That's why what I'm saying to you is trade-wise, to get us back to this discussion,
you don't
I would
have
not
anything
trade for a pitcher right now, for a starting pitcher, even though I think they may need one later on. And if someone comes available, okay, we can think about it. But I still think it's an outfielder. And I think Lee is gone. So now you've got Yastrzemski, Slater, you got that. You've got Conforto on that side. You've got Ramos out there. If you could give me Luis Robert of the White Sox.
Yeah.
There's the guy you talk about, Dan.
I talk about him too. Yeah, I'd love to have him.
Give me, someone like that. Give me someone, and I have no problem trading from the farm system.
Would you trade Luciano?
Absolutely.
And let's say, would you trade Eldridge and Luciano for Robert?
Well, I don't know what Robert's contract is, and the guy gets hurt a lot.
Yeah, that's what I'm concerned.
And Eldridge could be the best they have in the minor leagues. And
Probably is.
Wotus has told me this. He says he likes this kid, and he's doing well. He's in low A right now, and he's a teenager, pretty much. So he's a ways away. If Luis Robert, if I had him under contract, and I felt he wasn't going to see, the problem is the trade for guys who get hurt, who have been hurt. They get hurt again.
Yeah, exactly. They do get hurt again.
But in a short term, that's a guy I would like.
Okay. Now, Marty, we got a tough, smart audience, and they put me on the spot sometimes, and sometimes they do it with our guests. So one of our guests is gonna throw you a wicked change up or slider. You ready for it?
I know what you're talking about. There's
the question.
It says, does Marty think Farhan is making the lineup?
I think his hands are on it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. His hands are on the lineup. There's no question. That's what they do. Look, if they didn't do that, why are they employed?
Yeah.
They don't know anything about baseball.
My feeling is the job of what his department that specializes in all the numbers and analytics. They give all that information to the manager, and then the manager should be able to say, okay, I'll take what I'll do with what I want.
I think Bob does that, but I think he's got to really stand up to do it, because I think the nature of the Giants and the analytical department is to put their hands onto this thing. And he digests everything they give him. I ultimately think Bob is the guy who makes the lineup, but I guarantee you he gets a lot of information and a lot of help in making the lineup. And if things don't work what he's doing, then these people will say, hey, let's try this, let's try that. So he gets a lot of input. That's what they do. And that's the only reason they're employed, is to use their analytical data to make a lineup and show you against this pitcher who throws sliders that break 12 inches. You want this hitter whose bat speed is this amount and his vertical swing is this. That's what they do.
What's funny is there's a certain guy. I'm trying to remember his name. He's a Hall of Fame manager. I think he's won like 4 World Series. I think it's Bochy. That's it. He kind of uses his eye test a lot, and I don't know what's happened with that in today's game, but it sure seems to work a lot with guys that just kind of use their head, watch with their eyes. I don't get, I mean, I go to a lot of baseball games and watch a lot of baseball games, and I could see a guy with talent just from watching.
Well,
And
look, Bochy worked with Sabian. It was a whole different. You're talking about a different element,
Apples and
different era.
oranges.
Yeah, Farhan and his crowd are different, and they have.
but how's that working for them?
Well, it's different this year because you don't see the pinch hitting in the fourth inning or the fifth inning.
Yeah, that's
and Melvin stays with his guys.
yes.
Yeah.
Melvin stays with Soler, and Melvin stays with defensively. Melvin is not happy with what they're doing on defense in the infield.
Yeah.
The infield's killing him.
It was nice to see him get a
shortstop
little
thing is killing him, and at first base, we haven't seen Flores yet. He kicks the ball just about every time, but he doesn't kick it too far, so it hasn't killed him yet. But wait till he's got to dig some out, like Wade had to dig out. He hasn't had that yet. So the defense for Melvin, I think, is more of an issue of trying to figure out: do I put Wisely at short? Do I put Schmidt at short? He played Fitzgerald today. You saw that. He was at short today.
We predicted that lineup last night. We said we got I think we got all 9. We didn't know where they were going to bat the order.
Florida and Yaz.
We figured one of them would be.
My point to you is this: on the eye test argument and all that kind of stuff. I think he's got his hands full trying to get the defense straight. But he's not. This is not Gabe Kapler.
Yeah, that's for sure.
This is a guy who says, "Hey, this team stinks." Gabe Kapler would say, "Well, the players work hard, and they come back." He would give you some mumbo jumbo about it.
Yeah, I like Melvin.
Tells you, and when you
nice
sit
to
there with
hear.
Bob Melvin, you know what this is a real baseball manager.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's not happy with what he's seeing, and the way he manages, he's going to play guys that he feels can do things for him.
Yeah, I kind of looking at this. It seems to me until Ahmed gets back, they're probably. I think when Ahmed comes back, I think they're going to platoon Fitzgerald and Wisely. I really do.
Could be. Well, Wisely's a left-handed hitter, so if there's a lefty, maybe you see Fitzgerald in there. I talked to Fitzgerald this morning, and I said, "Look, I said, man, do something today. I said, you're a base stealer. It's okay to get thrown out. Mm-hmm. You're learning how to steal bases in the big leagues. Go today, do something." And he did. He stole the back end of a steal. It was handed to him, but he did do that today. So I like Fitzgerald. I
like him. I like Fitzgerald. My feeling in the beginning of the season.
I don't know how good he is at short, but
I think the perfect role for Fitzgerald on this team, because I like speed on a team. I think the perfect role is for Fitzgerald to play about 4 days a week, rotating like Chris Taylor of the Dodgers used to, just move him around, play him, spell this guy a day off, because this team has zero speed. I was looking at stats last night.
No, he's a
Tyro Estrada, who can steal 20 bags, has 1 stolen base this year.
Yeah.
1.
No, he has not run, and hasn't been in a position to run. It's just that last year he was in more of a position to run. He's not doing it at all this year. So when Ahmed comes back, boy, this is a long injury for this guy. We should see him already. But when he comes back, Schmidt goes. And then
Schmidt goes, exactly. We called that today, yeah.
Ahmed would be the shortstop. Schmidt goes, and then the backup becomes the issue.
Right.
Who's going to be the backup there? Do you keep Fitzgerald around, or do you keep Wisely? And they may keep Wisely, as shown, that he can hit a little bit more this year.
He's better at hitting than Fitzgerald.
And, he didn't play bad short. He's got a good arm. He's not a natural shortstop. He's not that instinctive shortstop, but neither is Fitzgerald. So that's one. The phrase is the players write the lineup. Let's see when Ahmed comes back, who's doing what. And
I think you get great defense out of Ahmed, but I don't think you get much of a bat.
Well, who cares? Have you watched this defense?
Yeah, but
wouldn't you like that Brandon Crawford at short?
Sure. I would love to have
a shortstop. You can't win without a shortstop.
My thing is this team was so boring prior to the kids coming up because of the injuries. You had Chapman. I don't think Chapman started really hitting until the lineup got stretched when you brought Matos and Ramos and Luciano. All of a sudden there was this enthusiasm. And I mean, Luciano, we watch him. He can smoke the ball. Yep. And he hit that ball off the right field wall.
I think the bat plays. I
think, defensively they started struggling, but they were 8-1 in games with Luciano playing. And then they sat him
in the Pittsburgh comebacks and all that.
Yeah. 8-1.
Don't do that because those you can't live like that.
I realize that, but they were able to hit. But see what's going to happen when you go with
Matos and Ramos and Luciano really jump-started this team.
Yeah, you watch what happens though when Ahmed comes in, and you got only guy up.
You have to sacrifice for it because you got to have a shortstop.
Yeah, I wish they could find.
Now, is he the long range? No. And maybe the trade is if you're not comfortable with Wisely, Fitzgerald, or Schmidt as backups. Maybe the addition is, the Iglesias kind of guy. Someone who is a major league shortstop, like the Paul DeYoung thing last year. Not to get him or that specific player, but looking for that major league player who can play short.
Gotcha. Yeah. Hey, Marty, I got a question because I know it's getting close here. I know you're getting ready to go to Rickwood Field here. June 20th? It's going to be exciting. What do you make of the MLB bringing in the Negro League or the Negro League stats into the fold? What do you think?
I think it's fine. I think it's fine.
I think so.
All this wouldn't have happened but for the racism of Major League Baseball.
Correct. Right.
They started all this stuff. They wouldn't let them play.
Right.
And now they're saying, okay, we wouldn't let you play, but now your stats are okay because you were great players. We know you were great players, but because we were segregationists and Judge Landis ran this thing and he would never let a player of color play, we're going to try to make it right. So what it does, it gives some number to a name.
Yes.
Because you hear Josh Gibson, Josh Gibson hit balls over center field in Griffith Stadium and hit the longest home run in the Polo Grounds and places like that. But then when you see his OPS for whatever amount of games it was, it's not 2,000 games. Let's say it's 700 games. Mm-hmm. And his OPS is there with Babe Ruth and people like that. These men played to win.
Yes, they did.
This was not Bingo Long and the Traveling All-Stars. These men played hard. Willie Mays learned how to play baseball with men. When these men played the game, they played as hard as they could to win. So their stats have some validity. So it gives you a frame of reference for names. Now, were there bad players in the Negro Leagues? Yes.
Sure. There's bad players in the MLB.
Major Leagues?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Were there great players in the Negro Leagues? Yes. Because we saw it. Once they were allowed to play, they took over the National League. The National League with Frank Robinson, Hank Aaron, Mays, McCovey, all these people, they were fabulous because Ernie Banks, Billy Williams, they all had a chance. So I like the fact, I know who Rogers Hornsby is.
Mm-hmm.
If you ask 50 people on the street, hey, what do you think of Rogers Hornsby? No one will know anything about him.
Nope.
So who cares if Oscar Charleston's batting average is now higher than Rogers Hornsby? It doesn't matter. But in the context of recognizing the greatness of players who played in that era, I think it's okay to do it.
That's what I feel. That's what I feel. Absolutely. But if you really want to get into brass tacks, I mean, there was the Federal League. Remember, the Federal League lasted like 3 years before it folded. They brought those stats over into the MLB, but they weren't part of the MLB.
Well, it's it's record keeping.
It's record keeping.
And what they did, they went back and they only considered games where there were box scores.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the whole thing, because they had the Union League, the Players League, the Federal League. They had all these upstart leagues, but they had records for those leagues.
Correct.
the American Association, the Beer and Whiskey League. That the National League fell apart, and the Beer and Whiskey League, American Association, was there from 1880 to 1892. Those records are in there. So your point is well taken. It's just a question of record keeping. So
absolutely.
How do I feel about it? It's fine.
I agree.
On my show, I do, the author every Sunday. So I've had people on with biographies of Pete Hill and Frank Grant and Oscar Charleston and Cool Papa Bell and Effa Manley, and these names that, are important names because they just weren't allowed to play. And they said, okay, we'll make our own league. Mm-hmm. And they did. And they
had, and many of them were much better athletes.
Come on, they were.
They played in MLB ballparks, so it's not like they were in a different field.
You look at
the MLB didn't want them in Major League Baseball because they were making money off them.
Yes,
on the rent, because they outdrew the White Sox.
They did.
They outdrew the Senators, and they got money. So keeping them in their own league was a way of making more money.
Absolutely. And there's accounts. I mean, back in the day, baseball players used to barnstorm to make some extra money on the offseason, and they would be playing against some of the Negro League teams. Yeah. And they've admitted some of these guys are better than what we have in MLB. So it's no question. I mean, there's no.
Oh exactly. Yeah, there's no question. There's no. We got a question.
Bob Feller, and I've talked to Bob Feller about this, and he kept record books and all this kind of stuff. He kept record books of all these games, and he said, "Oh, we beat them more than they beat us." Because that's the way Bob Feller was.
That's what he was, yeah.
But he knew quite well how strong the African American players were.
Absolutely.
And they would come on once they were allowed to play. Monty Irvin, I don't care who it was. Once they were allowed to play, they were terrific.
Yes, they were.
Yeah, we got a question for you here. Brian Iglesias says, when The Godfather comes on, it's a must watch. The question I'm most interested in is, does Jordan Hicks have enough stamina and arm strength to survive a full year as a starter? What are your thoughts?
No. Yep. I just think we're in June 5th, and to watch him today, I mean, he was in 90 pitches in 4 innings.
Yep.
And, he didn't have command, and when he got in trouble, I said, throw 97. Why is he 3-1, 3-2? Throw they can't hit 97.
Yeah. And you know what? If you make him an 8th inning guy, you're going to see 102. You're not going to
got it by then,
Yeah. If he's got, this was, Marty,
he is in a learning stage.
We were
learning how to be a major league starter.
I was on record in the off season. I said I wanted Jordan Hicks to be. I threw it out there, signed Jordan Hicks. I didn't know they were going to make him a starter. I was right from day one, and I said I could be wrong. I'd love to be proven wrong. I don't think he lasts as a starter, and the fear I have is that he gets worn out and he loses his effectiveness even as a bullpen person, because He's pitches on average for the last several years about 70 innings. Where's he at now, Eric? He's probably close to that.
Yeah, he's about 65, 70 right now.
Yeah, I think so. Somewhere around there.
I do have the notes for today, so let's see.
So what we're seeing is the last couple games he's been ineffective because he's losing command.
Well, that's the problem, is that he doesn't have command.
It's because he's tired.
Well,
remember Cobb last year, what he said at the All-Star break? He says, I'm fatigued. Alex Cobb,
he's thrown 63 innings going into today. So he's
going into today 67.
So
I think he's going to start hitting a wall here. And my concern is that you push him to 100+ innings, that by the time he's ready to go to the bullpen,
he's already worn out.
Well, what does he have to give you as a starter? Let's say he gives you 5 innings, okay? And you have your bullpen guy, you got Jelly behind him, and you have a couple other pitchers behind him. Is that the end of the world if he can give you 5 innings and keep you in the game?
No.
If he can do that. If he, but he's got to, if he's going to go 5 innings, he's got to 2 runs or less.
Yeah, but he can give you 5. He today, I honestly thought the pitch selection, the way he pitched today, was the problem. I thought he was struggling with his off-speed stuff. The split was terrific, but the sweeper, sinker, slider, whatever else he was doing, he was behind a lot. And I said, throw the fastball. You still have 97 in there, 98. And he did to get out. If you were there to get out of a couple of jams, he did throw the fastball. Yeah, look, your point's well taken. This is one that's worthy of watching, and we'll see where it goes. Chances are, you won't be able to push him too hard. From what we've seen so far, it's not like he's getting better. He's kind of getting a little shakier as we go on. So this is worth watching. It is.
Yeah, I think this is, and hopefully I'll be wrong on this, but my take on the season is the Giants remain in the wild card hunt all the way till the last couple weeks.
Let me
of the
say
season.
this: if Webb and Snell and Harrison are who they should be, and I'm assuming Harrison still has something left in the tank at the end, and now you put Hicks in the bullpen like Wickham was in 2012 or 2014, the Golden Gate Bridge.
Golden Gate Bridge, I remember that. Yep.
Yeah.
You put Hicks in that position in the playoffs if you get in, where you bring in a Hicks in the 6th inning, not Luke Jackson.
Right.
All of a sudden you've got Hicks to bring you to the 8th inning. That's something important. So that may be his role if they are lucky enough to get in later on.
It'd be kind of like the Cleveland when they were the Indians. Miller,
Andrew Miller.
Andrew Miller used to pitch.
Yeah, exactly. It works. That's part of the formula. That's part of the bullpen formula when you get to the playoffs, is have that guy who can give you 2 innings. So that may be the role that he will take.
Yeah. So hopefully,
Your point's not wrong.
Yeah. I think it's the Giants have potential. I mean, if they can get to the playoffs, they'll be dangerous. If Webb is healthy,
if
Ray is pitching well, and Snell is pitching.
Look, if they get to the playoffs, a lot has to go right.
Yes.
A lot has to go right. So if they get there, if they get to 83, 84, 85 wins, if that happens, look, I always say, where are you at 62 games? Because at 62, there's 100 left, and it's real easy to figure out your percentage. Well, at 62, they were 29 and 33. So you go 50-50, that's 79. So to get to 85 now, you got to go 56-44. That's 560 ball.
Right.
You get to 85. That's not easy for this team.
Not easy. And when you look at
now,
this
if they can get to that, if that means something is going very right.
Right.
Very right. So it's always very important for me, that 60-second game.
That's an interesting take. I like that.
See what you got to do the second half.
60-second game, because you don't want to put yourself in the hole in the first
half. You don't
have
to win 57 out of 100.
Right.
You don't want to play 570 ball when you're playing you're playing 470 ball.
Right.
You're asking to turn the tables around a lot. So they got into a little fix here with this losing streak. It hurt them.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
But the beauty of baseball is when you're 2 games behind, which they are, 3 games behind, 1 game behind, it changes in a weekend.
It does.
If you're 10 games behind, it could take you 3 weeks of great ball and everything going right. But to be 1 or 2 games behind at this stage, it changes in a weekend.
Yeah.
In a week. In a week, you could go from, boy, this is the greatest team I ever saw, to, hey, let's trade everybody.
Marty, I got to ask you a controversial question.
All right. I like
it. My chat gets on me because I'm a hat collector. And one of the guys in the chat was saying, put your Giants hat on. They won, because I had a Diamondbacks hat on last night. I had a Yankees hat on this weekend. I just like hats. And so I kind of mix it up on this show, and I say, I'll wear the winning hat. So what do you think? Is people get on me, they say I'm a Giants fan. I said, well, I'm a fan of the game more. I am a Giants fan, but I'm such a fan of the game. I appreciate watching Judge and Soto. It was exciting to see players.
You can wear whatever you want because it's your content that matters.
Yes.
Once you hear your content, you realize where your heart is. You're a baseball guy. Yeah. And Eric is the same way. And I think I am too, to some degree.
Yeah.
So look, I got the Marty Lurie hat, but I look around, I got a Giants hat up there, a Giants hat there, a Giants hat there, a Pelicans hat there.
Look what just
I've got
this one just came in today.
I've got an Original Joe's hat there.
Original Joe's.
I got a million hats.
Hey, and Eric won your contest about a month ago.
Yeah, Eric's going to Original Joe's.
Yeah, how about that?
Yeah,
I'm supposed to go with him.
Hey, Dan, how many have you won, Dan?
How many have I won? Hey, I had it, but somebody blew it. I had the score right in the 9th inning, and who was it that came in and gave up?
We're getting a lot of entry. We've gotten more entries the last couple of weeks than we've had ever.
Oh, that's great.
That's great.
And, we do have another prize. Ref does it's like the Secret Santa thing. He picks out someone who did not qualify for the win, and they get dinner for two at Soto Mare in North Beach at 552 Green Street, which is really a lot of fun. It's a great restaurant. So by participating, you got a shot at going to Soto Mare if you don't win.
Hey, Los came close last week. He had the Yankees 8-5 on Sunday. It was 7-5.
Yeah. It's not simple to pick the score.
No, it's not.
No, but if the whole gambling thing was in the news this week. But they do say 9 or 8.5 or 7. So they do give you a little bit of an edge that where you maybe should go, in kind of figuring out what the score is in total runs.
Well, I know you got to run, Marty, but before you run, you can take this one on or not. Do you want to touch the Shohei Otani situation with the gambling? How they just tucked that one under the table quickly?
Yeah, no, it's funny you said that. And that was another thing we talked about today in the great press box today. Ippy, that took the fall. This is like Greg Anderson. This is the Greg Anderson. Ippy takes the fall, and who knows what he's going to get for a sentence. I think they're going to slam him with 3 or 4 years. They have to because of the amount of money. But baseball was so glad that he took the fall. He pled. He's getting sentenced, and this is all going to be over for baseball in a couple of months once he's sentenced. But they've seen enough. They said that's enough. Otani is innocent. If he did it, and Otani is innocent, case closed.
Yeah, they
said, look, I was a criminal lawyer for 25 years. Yeah. I wish my clients got investigated as much as Otani did. Ippy did it. Otani did nothing, and goodbye. I can't tell you how many co-defendants I had who ended up getting a deal and testifying against my guy. And they never let my guy go away.
No.
So,
it's pretty amazing because Eric and I were talking about this off the air last night. It says, how many billions of dollars would the MLB lost if they banned Shohei for life?
Exactly.
Yeah, they couldn't do it.
Yeah, so
they closed the case.
They closed it.
They closed it.
I think they haven't.
That's it. We've seen enough. Otani, clear.
And you're
hear from this again.
Right. You're hearing it here. I said it on Twitter. You're going to hear it right here from my mouth. Watch him get pardoned in January next year.
Ooh.
Or Ippy.
No.
He's going to get pardoned. He might spend a year. He's going to get pardoned at some point.
No. Who's going to pardon him?
One of the presidents who's ever going out. I mean, what? Why not?
You're dreaming.
I don't know.
There's no upside. What's the upside of pardoning Ippy? Who's going to get votes for doing that?
Oh no, the guy who if Biden happens to lose, he can just on his way out pardon him.
Yeah, Ippy, no problem. You stole $16 million, but it's cool. I don't think so.
I don't think he stole $16 million personally, but
whatever it was cool.
I know. What I'm saying is, I think there's a deal that was made. But
no,
that's just me.
He's going to take. He took the fall. Now, is his family going to be protected for the rest of his, this is Frankie Santangeli, this is Frankie, Frankie, the old way they used to do it when someone was a traitor, he would, kill himself and then his family was taken care of. You mean that? You mean that, Tom? You mean that? Yeah, Frankie, I mean that. All right, I understand. He's smoking a cigar, and next thing you know, Frankie's in the bathtub, and he's done, and the family's taken care of forever. That's why I'm the Godfather.
There we go.
Oh, I love it.
All right, Marty. Hey, well, I know you got to get running here, but we'll have you.
The plane is a little late tonight.
Oh, it is. Okay, so
you
can stay with us.
Well, I can say a few more minutes.
All right, we'll go a little bit longer.
Coming in at 10:45. So.
All right, so we'll go till 10-15 minutes, and then we'll close the whole thing out.
Yeah, we go another 10 minutes is cool.
Okay. Well, good.
Any questions? Who's watching this thing?
Let's see. We got 235
Come on, guys. Let's see. Let's hear some good questions out there, guys. Let's see. Let me look. Everyone's more statements.
I know we had some statements. Robert Duville, who said he was looking forward to seeing you back at the San Francisco later in this month. Let's see.
Here we go. Sacktown baseball. What do you think of the A's playing in Sacramento?
Yeah, I think Sacramento is a great baseball area. I really do.
Yep, it is.
And I think they're ready to get excited about it.
Do you think the A's may stay, or do you think they're moving to Vegas?
Who knows? I mean, the Vegas thing, until I see, and I've said this for years, and, we did this with Lou Wolf and the whole crowd of them, until you see the shovel in the ground, until I see the shovel in the ground, I don't believe anything.
There you go.
But baseball wants it. Baseball is doing everything in the world to support this thing for the A's. They want Las Vegas. They do.
Yeah,
they saw the Super Bowl. They saw the excitement. They want Las Vegas for baseball, and they're covering the cost for the A's to do this.
Wow.
Okay, interesting.
I think Vegas would do much better with an expansion team than the A's, because I think Vegas could get behind more of an expansion team as they did with their hockey team.
Well, it probably should get new ownership, because this guy, it's clear he's not the right owner.
No, he's not.
To do what he's doing to the Bay Area and to Oakland and Sacramento, whatever he's doing, just basically taking it to his advantage and leaving the dust in his trail there. For him to do this to us in the Bay Area, and then what kind of a person does this? And then to say, "Oh, I'm cool. I'll be really good in Las Vegas." I wouldn't trust him.
All right. While we're on the subject of owners, let's address another elephant in the room. What do you think of the Giants' ownership as far as just the way they're handling things? And there's a lot of not just NorCal Sports Network, but some radio stations in the Bay Area, radio hosts really coming down hard on the Giants, and they're tired of what they've become, and just wanting them to be more competitive. And some people are calling for Farhan, and they feel like ownership is just content more with building the real estate.
I mean, it's easier to say that. Look, they are competitive. The swing of baseball. Look, there are teams that spend $300 million that don't win, right?
The Mets.
Look, there are teams that do this that don't win. So we were lucky enough to get the 3 World Series in 2016. They did have 2021. I'm not sure that Farhan's way of building the team is right for the Bay Area, because the Bay Area is a star market.
Yeah.
And we're really competing, as you guys know, you guys do a great job in the 49ers and the Warriors. You're competing with that. Now you got the WNBA coming in. You'll have to compete with that.
Mm-hmm.
So the way they've put the team together over the last 5 or 6 years has not been great. It hasn't been great. And I think that's something that they went through transition from Brian Sabian to this analytical era, and it didn't exactly work the way they wanted it to do. I think their thought was right, but the people that have done it have not been really successful in doing it. Maybe this new way of doing it this year, of adding on, the Snells of the world. Fortunately, the guy got hurt, but the Solairs, the Chapmans, people like that, maybe that'll make a difference.
Does Farhan survive this year?
I think so.
I mean, into next year?
Yeah, I think so.
You mentioned the Mets spending a lot of money. You think Remix Monkey in the chat, he mentioned, do you think the Giants are in for trading for Alonso?
Well, it's so funny. We did talk about that today.
Oh, interesting.
Alonso,
okay.
And the argument was he wouldn't hit in this park. And I think he would. I mean, I think his power is so dramatic, that line drive power to left field. I would love to.
I've seen him hit a few out there.
Now, you do have Wade at first. So what do you do with Wade if you bring Alonso in? Because Wade really is turned into a player now.
Yeah, Wade's
you got to figure out what to do with him. And you do still have Soler as a DH. So there's a little bit of a logjam. But I said that Andrew Vaughn of the White Sox. And as you said, Eric, or Dan said, you got to look at what teams are going to be selling. And the White Sox are one of them. So maybe Vaughn is a guy.
How about this, Marty? I put this tweet out last night.
Torkelson?
Yeah, Torkelson's from Petaluma. He just got sent down to AAA. Scott Harris is the Pobo there. Yeah. He's got a good relationship with Farhan. His value on the baseball trade value is as low as I've ever seen. It's only worth 4 points, which is in the area of a Landon Roop or a Grant McRae. Wouldn't take a lot to get a guy who hit 31 homers last year for Detroit. And yeah, he's having a real rough year. He's struggling, but maybe a change of scenery back home would help.
Yep. Yeah. Why not? That would be. I like that. I like a trade for. You see what baseball has become. It's become a game of players 22 to 27. You have to have impact players in that range. You have to have some. And that's where the Giants don't have anybody. Now, Ramos all of a sudden is 24 and he's starting to hit. We're excited.
Yeah.
But you need 3 or 4 Ramoses.
Right.
Maybe Bailey considered one, maybe as a catcher. But Torkelson fits in that range. So if you roll the dice with a guy like that, it's like Texas getting Adolis Garcia. The Cardinals had him. They gave up on him, goes to Texas, and the guy goes wild. Rosarena goes wild in Tampa at that age. And all of a sudden now they're, older and, obviously, but they've made their mark and they've won. So that's what I like. And if Torkelson could be one of those guys, or Vaughn could be a guy like that.
Yeah,
I love it.
Both Bay Area guys.
I want trades for people with big upside.
Yes.
That are athletes. Now, Torkelson and Vaughn are not real, they're not really athletes. They're not the speed, they're not Lewis Robert, that guy. They're not someone like that. They're not a Soto. But they are capable, like a Reese Hoskins. Reese Hoskins is another one that I would have liked to.
That would have been nice. We talked
maybe he's too old. Maybe he didn't fit in that. He's coming off that injury, and they didn't want to get involved with him. But to answer your question, absolutely, Torkelson, I'd be all for it.
Yeah.
All right.
I trade minor leaguers. You don't want to trade your best, and no one does. And these trades for that you'll see are. The 5th, 9th, and 14th prospects. No one's trading their 1st, 2nd, or 3rd prospects for anybody. That's not happening. But look, the Orioles have guys. How about, the Orioles need some pitching. The Orioles need guys. How about Duvall going to the Orioles and trying to get Cowser?
Cowser, I brought that up. Cowser, yes, I love that deal.
How about that guy? They've got minor leaguers who can walk in. And they need a closer. If they're going to do anything in the playoffs, how about sending Duvall out and bringing in a guy like that?
We had the director.
I like that.
Yes, I like that too. We had the director of player development on the Orioles on the show. It was, my best friend growing up. His son is now the director of player development for Baltimore. He played for the White Sox, in their minor leagues, and then, his baseball career ended a couple years back, and he's a young kid, but he's moving up in the Orioles. What was interesting to me, what we heard from Anthony, is we were talking about Cowser, and Cowser was, crushing the ball in the minors. He came up last year, he started hitting bombs, and then he went into a tailspin, and it all became mental for him. It was just, baseball's such a mental game. These guys have the physical tools, whether it's Matos or Schmidt, to play in the majors. You see sparks of it here and there, but when they go into a slump, it's the mental aspect that gets these guys, and they got to learn to work that through. And I'm seeing a big change in Ramos because, he had not much of a chance. He only had 76 career at bats before this season. And I was kind of like, hey, let's get this guy a chance. But, he had to work through the mental ups and downs. And when you get the mental things right, things start clicking. And he was ready to come up here and play. He was begging Farhan to play.
Well,
Bring me up.
Age 24. He's been in AAA. He's done everything he has to do in AAA, and he was ready to do it. And he, now let's hope it continues. Let's hope this is not Casey Schmidt of last year. Let's hope that, the pitchers are going to adjust to him. Maybe he's going to see more breaking ball. Who knows what they're going to do. And then he'll have to show that he can hit it. But he's certainly done everything you could want. He's really become a legitimate corner guy who seemed to be able to hit with power and real power. He's not just hitting wall scrapers. It's not Soler. It's not going out like that, but it's going out.
Yeah, and it's going out with big-time exit velocity.
Yeah, it's going out. So he's been a very pleasant surprise. Yeah. But you need guys like that. You need people like that. Here's the question. My only question about Las Vegas, will they have slot machines in the stadium? Absolutely.
Thanks, Mike, for the $5. Appreciate it.
Yeah, they'll definitely have.
They got slot machines in the bathroom. They got slot machines everywhere. Go to Las Vegas, that's all they, it
is pretty ironic that they'll allow slot machines in the ballpark, but if a player somehow bets on the game with all this temptation.
Hey, look, Eric got slammed.
I know. I'm always
Eric.
Look at that.
This is good. You want to be slammed. Slammed is good.
Yeah, he says they're blaming Farhan as a cat. It's not a coward way out. I got some thoughts behind it. I mean, come on. We're good.
Steve, I want to ask, what do you mean by that? What do you mean, coward way?
I don't know.
Please explain what you mean by that, and then we'll.
Yeah, it's interesting. We get that a lot, Marty.
We get that.
I like it. I think it's great.
Yeah, we don't mind it. Just explain why. Yeah,
exactly. That's what we do.
We know what we believe and what it's based on, and that's what baseball's all about. It's a very
absolutely. It's a conversation.
Look, you asked me a question.
I blame the players.
I don't think blame the players. It's true. Well, I see right.
Yes.
The players who are not performing, you're absolutely right, and that's
what I say.
I think Farhan's done a good job, but come on, Soler's got to hit.
Right.
He's got to hit. Snell has got to get in shape. It's got to happen. So you're right.
I will tell people, the players also got to produce. What I get after Farhan is he's the man in charge. He's the one that's going to go out there and get the talent. He's got to put it.
But the thing is, what I say is, June, July, you figure out really what you need. What you need. The first 2 months, I don't care what happens, as long as you don't get killed. But now you figure out what you need. Then when you get to that trade deadline, that's when the spotlight goes from Eric to Farhan.
Yes.
That's when it goes to Farhan.
And that's where I say
the trade deadline, because that's when you say, okay, I need a shortstop, I need an outfielder, I need a relief pitcher. And Sabian did it all the time. And Farhan did it with Chris Bryant.
He did it, but other than that,
made a decent trade for Chris Bryant.
Right.
I think he did something with the Reds too, didn't he? Didn't they do something with the Reds? Maybe that was Sabian.
That was Sabian. That was Sabian for the pitcher.
I forget. It was a little guy.
Starting pitcher. Yeah. It's a small guy. Yeah. I can't
The guy
remember.
from Mike Leake?
Mike Leake.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
good. Good. Yeah,
That's
good memory. See, I can't remember anything. That's good.
Where I get at,
that's when the spotlight.
Yes.
We can speculate all we want, but that's when the guy has got to do his job.
Yes.
And that's
Correct.
a trade deadline. So you see where they are by the trade deadline.
Yep. Exactly. And a lot of the things that we talk about too is kind of what Farhan has done in the past. You know, we're going into year 6. In the 5 previous years, he's got 1 season over 500. You know, that speaks, you know, he's got to take some ownership in why that team is only.
That's why he did this winter what he did.
Yes.
If he wanted to save his job, he had to go out and get players. He couldn't, you know, the quote Connor Joe players.
Right.
That wasn't going to, the Vosslers of the world, that wasn't going to fly. They weren't going to put up with that anymore. That's what got Gabe Kapler fired. And Farhan was out the door if he didn't get this done this way. And he has. Yeah. He responded. So now his next step is going to be the trade
deadline.
Do you know, Marty,
time on the trade deadline? You cannot stand pat and just say, well, we got our guys and let's see what's going to happen. You've got to be bold. You must be bold because the trade deadline, people do want to make deals, and you have your money is your minor league player.
Yes.
You have money. It's like a printing press in the basement when you got minor leaguers. They haven't done anything yet. They're not in the big leagues. Move them. It's okay. Yep. You're going to draft 20 new ones.
Yeah.
6 weeks. You're going to have 20 new ones that you're going to love.
Right.
Yep. And you know, and it's funny because last year is a perfect example. Arizona was close to the wild card. Giants had the number 1 wild card. Giants barely did anything. They signed AJ Pollock, but Arizona went out and got a closer. They got Pham. They made their team better to make that push. Yeah.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah. And that's the next step is to see what happens.
Was that extension? There was the last we heard was Susan Slusser said that Greg Johnson or maybe it was Farhan hadn't gotten around to signing it. Has that been signed, that 2-year extension?
Yeah, I think it's well known. He's got Melvin wouldn't be here without Farhan having his 3 years. Melvin didn't want to come in for 1 year and then have a new general manager who wants a new guy.
Right.
You know, who knows what that would be. So I think that was one of the conditions of Melvin taking the job. And Farhan did get the extra 2 years. I believe that's the case. You know, I remember when Art Howe went to the Mets, and Art and I were very friendly in those days. And when the job was being offered, I said, Art, Steve Phillips is going to get fired, you know, and then they're going to bring in somebody else. And, you know, you better get a good contract. And he did. He got a good 3-year deal for 10 or 12 million, and that was it. But, you know, when you come in and the general manager's in trouble, that general manager, a good chance is going, and then you're going with them.
Yeah. I thought the Giants personally made a mistake. They had a wonderful opportunity to start all over last year.
No, you couldn't do that.
Why? You couldn't get rid of Farhan and Gabe?
No.
Why?
Gabe lost the team, and the team, you know, basically became unwatchable, and they couldn't. And it all happened in September. It happened down here.
Right.
It happened against Arizona.
Right. Yeah. I remember being
that series killed him. But change that. You got to remember, Dan, to change the head of the organization. This is not like changing your third baseman. This is a man who's in charge of everything. You were talking about the Heat Dome. He's got the dome of San Francisco that he's in charge of. You can't say in the middle of September, you know something, we better fire Farhan and let's get someone new in. You've got a whole off season to deal with. You've got a ton of people. You've got a whole organization. You better have someone in place ready to go and be thinking about this for a year. Then you can make a move. And I think they're in that mode now. That if they had to do something now, at least their eyes are open. But all of a sudden last September to say, oh, my God, Kapler's got to go and we're getting rid of Farhan with him, what would they have done? Who would be running the organization? They weren't ready to bring
I guess they just weren't ready, which is, to me, a blind spot. But that's okay. They just missed it. I didn't think Kapler was the right guy.
They were still living off of 2021.
Yeah. What do you think Buster Posey's role is in the ownership? Does he have the ear of Greg Johnson when he's watching what's happening?
I think to some degree, yeah, and I think Farhan is in the middle of that. Yeah, I think Posey is there, and I knowing his personality the way we do, I don't think Posey's the kind of guy who's going to call Greg Johnson up at midnight and say, Greg, I don't like what's going on here. We better start making some moves. That's Posey.
Right.
That's not Posey. But I think he does have a perspective, and I think he will explain himself. Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
But it's a big headache. When you get rid of someone who's running the organization, you better be ready. You better be ready to do it. And I don't think Posey is in that slot to push someone out yet. I don't. But
Yeah.
I think his input is important.
I would like to personally see the Giants go in a direction with an experienced GM who's actually won something of significance. To me,
it'd be nice to have a combination, because the analytics are never going to go.
Oh yeah, hey Marty, we have said, and I've said, and I'll say it right here again. I think Farhan is valuable to the organization, but not as the front guy. I think behind is the head of analytics. I think he would help this club immensely. Let's get an aggressive guy that knows how to deal with agents and is aggressive at making trades. To me, Farhan,
those people exist anymore, because don't forget all the people who are coming up, all the assistant this, assistant that, and they're all people out of this mold. The Dave Dombrowskis of the world. There aren't very many of them. Brian Cashman, there aren't too many of them left.
Yeah. I mentioned Dave Dombrowski. Yeah, there's AJ Preller out there.
There aren't too many of them. They're all people who've come up through their ranks, because this has been going on for 20 years now.
Yeah, you look at the new guy running the Marlins now. I mean,
it's all people like that. And there's a blend.
How about Kim Ning? She worked under Coletti at the Dodgers, right? She's a little bit.
I don't know why not? I mean, I'd like to talk to her, I'd like to hear what she's got to say. But I think what we're really saying is a blend.
Yeah.
You need a blend. It would be nice to have Ned Coletti working with Farhan.
Yes, I agree.
On a level where he'd have to listen to him. You know what I mean? It's you don't want to surround yourself with only people who agree with you. There's a saying in the world, you need a cold water guy. The cold water guy is the guy who says, Dan, I don't think so. I think that picture that you have behind you of the A's, I think has really got to go. I don't think that's going to be okay. Or, it's the cold water guy.
Yeah.
Like I'm doing with you tonight. We're having fun. But if you say something and I think you're wrong, in my world, I'll tell you.
Yeah, that's the way it should be.
And that's the way you need to have an organization run.
Absolutely. When I was running,
who's the cold water guy? Do they have a cold water guy?
No, I don't think they do right now.
Yeah, that would help. That would help.
Yeah. Well, Marty, man, it's been great having you tonight. We got to get you back on soon. Maybe after you get back from the road trip, when they're
back from Rickwood.
Yeah. That'd be fun. I'm looking forward. It's going to be fun.
Because I want to hear about that. You're fortunate you got one of the tickets, or you got an entry. I know you use your media pass, but there is a lot of people that are trying to get tickets to that game that cannot. Even for the Giants, we've heard from the head guy of the Giants. All of a sudden, I'm drawing a blank with his name.
Russ Stanley.
Russ Stanley. Yes. Is a lot of tickets he's looking for that he can't even get his hands on.
It's a small statement. They're only selling tickets to people with Alabama zip codes.
Wow.
Okay.
The Padres did that. Remember, in the playoffs, they wouldn't sell a ticket to anyone with an LA zip code to keep the Dodger fans out.
Is it a sellout? Because I think I've got some.
It's only 8,000. I mean, it's like an 8,000 seat stadium.
Get some friends down in Alabama and get a new address.
Yeah, so no, I'm credentialed to go, and I'll do interviews there, and I'm sure Bob Kendrick, I just saw him, He was just up here. So yeah, I'm looking forward to being there. This is going to be interesting.
That's cool. I still want to go to the Field of Dreams field though. That one.
Yeah, this is going to be fun. This is a good moment for baseball, for whatever their motivation is.
Yeah,
it puts a spotlight on people who deserve to be known.
Yes.
Well, I'm gonna let me
Agreed.
get before I don't know 1 minute. Give me just a few, whatever you can rattle off your favorite ballparks you've been to.
Camden Yards.
Okay.
I like that. And then the traditional Fenway, Wrigley,
Yeah.
Yep.
I have very fond memories of being there, for whatever happened at the games, just sitting in those ballparks.
Wow.
As a kid, I mean, Ebbets Field for me,
Mm.
was sort of like a Camden Yards. But as a kid, when you're 8 to 10 years old, you could have a game in Big Rec in Golden Gate Park, and that could be the best park you've ever seen in your life. So,
Oh yeah.
we're very impressionable at those ages. But that's where I was when I was a kid. I think Houston, believe it or not, when the Colt 45s played, I saw a game in that stadium.
Colt 45.
And Bruce Jenkins and I are going to talk about it Sunday. It'll be
nice.
the anniversary of the first night game ever on a Sunday night, because it was in Houston, and it was so hot that they couldn't play during the day. So Major League Baseball said, all right, Sunday night, you can play on a Sunday night. So that anniversary is coming up in 1963. And the Mosquitoes wore gloves. That's how big they were. They could catch something,
I love it. Mosquitoes wore gloves. I love it.
Colt 45 Stadium, I was in that one.
Nice.
The Yankee Stadium, I wasn't in this one or the old one. I was in the middle one. And walking into Yankee Stadium was pretty cool, seeing the facade. That was pretty interesting. I think, let's see, I've been to the new Houston one, the new Miami one.
How about the classic Dodger Stadium?
Dodger Stadium, I was in that. Philly, I was in the old Vet. I was in the old St. Louis Stadium. Yeah, I would say Wrigley, Fenway, Camden, and Ebbets Field. I'd say those were the best. And look, I love this. I love Pac Bell. I do. You go to all these different parks, and then you go to San Francisco, and you realize how unique the park is. It's an amazing place to watch a game. It really is really, really good. So we're lucky to have that one.
Oh, I just saw a text that somebody sent me a question. I don't know if you got time for a quick question.
All right.
Dan, ask Marty, did pitchers from earlier eras throw every fourth day and a ton of pitches and rarely get hurt compared to today's starters?
Yeah, maybe their careers, well, some were longer than others, but they didn't throw 98 to 100, and they didn't go max effort, all the time. And players didn't work the count all the time, and make you throw, 200 tough pitches. So the game is different today. But yes, they were trained to go every fourth day, and they just didn't throw as hard. Look, if you had a guy who 10 years ago, if you had a guy who threw 97, Hunter Strickland, boy, he threw harder than anybody on the staff.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't throw 97, you're not on the team.
Right. Right.
So it's a different world even 10 years ago, but 50 years ago, you had guys who, were good pitchers, but didn't kill you every pitch, every single pitch.
Yeah.
And it's a different game now. So it's just the way they train the pitcher. I would like to see him at least, look, what's the magic number? 110, 115 pitches, 100? For some reason, they made it 100. But teach a pitcher in the minor leagues how to pitch 7 innings.
Right, please.
How to do that and get out of trouble.
Amen.
Be a pitcher. That's what I say with Hicks. Be a pitcher. And that's what he's really trying to do that. He's really trying to use all his pitches and be a pitcher. And it's hard for him because he's a reliever. And he usually comes in and just throws gas. And then he'll throw a split every once in a while. But those days, whether it was Seaver or any of these guys, they had fastballs, but they just didn't throw exclusively hard. And that's the way they got away with it.
You know what I think's coming, Marty? At the next CBC, whatever they call it, collective bargaining agreement. Yeah, I think baseball is going to try to go to a 61.6 inch distance. They're going to move it back a foot to maybe a foot and a half to get guys batting averages. You cannot have half the league hitting 230 or below and continue the sport as us older generations die off. It's not sustainable to watch guys hit 220, 230.
Yeah, well, look, this is the lowest the league has hit on base and slugging and a batting average going back to the late 60s.
Yeah,
wow.
So it is a problem.
And what did they do in the 60s?
That way,
they lowered the mound.
Yeah,
something's coming.
I just think moving the mound would be. They haven't moved the mound since 1894.
Yeah, I just think with these guys throwing, like you said,
everybody moved the mound, and Eric disappeared.
Yeah, I
had to sneeze. I had to sneeze.
I think what you're I think what you're saying about everybody throwing 97 now, it has an effect on the batting averages.
You know what?
No question. Look, guys out in the fourth inning, and now you bring in 4 guys who throw 97.
Well, so, see, Marty, I remember you brought this up. This is years ago on your radio show. You brought up segments: the art of hitting, the art of fielding, the art of pitching. Do you think
you used to do that? Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think the art of pitching has kind of gone away, where it's just all max effort, all guts, no glory? It's just like there's no pitch like Greg Maddux even. I mean, that's not going back that far, but it's you. I want to see the pitcher have an arsenal to where he's going to throw everything but the kitchen sink at you.
These guys still can throw sweepers and sliders and changeup because you have to have an off speed.
Yeah,
you got to have a third pitch,
Mm-hmm.
but you can't walk in with 89 as your fastball. And with all these other pitchers, you got to have something else. You got to have something that goes 94, 95. It's very difficult to be 92 and even have this other stuff. So I think the difference is you got to come in throwing 90s in the mid 90s or above, but you got to have the other stuff too. If you don't have, if you don't have a changeup, if you don't have an off speed pitch, then these guys will just sit back and they'll hit a fastball. So yeah, the pitchers today have the other stuff, but they can't get away without throwing some heat. It's very hard.
Interesting.
Very hard.
Okay. You think the hitters are that much in tune with hitting, like for example, like a Juan Marichal. I mean, he wasn't a high throw, but he had a lot of deception.
Well, he had deception, but he had pinpoint control.
There you go. Yes.
I mean, they had pinpoint control.
Right.
And they could throw the ball where they want. When you find a guy with that kind of command, Harrison doesn't have pinpoint control.
No.
Logan Webb has pretty good control when he has it together. So you're looking for guys who can put the ball where they want to put it. But you got to have power today. It's a power game.
It's a power game.
Yeah.
Danny
Doval to the Orioles. That's the one.
Doval the Orioles.
I see a lot of guys in the chat calling me out saying it will never happen, that there won't. Here it is. Let me see. Even Senior said they won't move the mound back. Guys, listen to this. In 2021, Major League Baseball partnered with the Atlantic League of Professional Baseball to experiment with moving the pitcher's mound back from home plate to increase offense and decrease strikeouts. It's coming, guys. They don't experiment. Remember, they started off with everything they've experimented with in the minor leagues has been implemented.
Yeah.
The Atlantic League is the petri dish for baseball.
It is.
I had the president on last year from the Atlantic League. I actually get them on again, see what they're doing this year. Yeah, they have all the crazy rules. Yeah,
they come to baseball, the pitch clock, the moving the two.
Look, what I can't say it's never going to happen. It did happen, in 1894, but it would be pretty radical. But I can't say that it couldn't happen.
I just think it's going to happen because I got a survey from MLB about 3-4 weeks ago, and so many of the questions were all about what do you want to see less strikeouts and more, hits, and why are they asking that survey? They're trying to find out what people want.
Yeah, but they shouldn't be asking you. You're too old. They should be asking, your grandchildren,
Yeah, true. Probably my grandchildren aren't even watching, probably, but yeah. So, well, Marty, I know you got to run. We're gonna get going shortly here, so we'll get you back on in a week or two. I guess the game's on the 20th.
Yeah, June 20th.
So a couple weeks from then, we'll
see. We're in a season. This is where it goes. We're in the survival mode now. You got to survive to June and July. You got to survive, and if you can survive June and July, and you make that crafty trade for somebody, and now the race to the finish, August and September.
Well, I don't see this team being out of the race at any point. I don't see it.
I hope not. They're
because everybody's in the race. It seems like.
Yeah, that's right. Who's going to put them out? That's the question.
Yeah, yep. I mean, you got teams that are 6, 7, 8 games under 500, and they're two.
Well, just everybody is looking for the right pitching and the bullpen and the consistency. And so far, we haven't seen it. Just look at the list of the teams. It speaks for itself. So until we see someone who runs away in this group, everything's on the table.
Very good.
Makes sense.
Very good.
All right. Have a good night.
All right, Marty. You have a great night. Thanks again.
Always
great Marty Lurie. All right.
A pleasure. All right. Take care.
Thank you so much.
Marty.
All right.
All right. The great Marty Lurie.
Marty Lurie for an hour and a half tonight.
Man, that was good, man. That was good baseball talk. I tell you what.
Hey, man, baseball, we love the game of baseball. We love the history of the game, and nobody knows it better than Marty. So
absolutely.
You guys we're all.
It's like college level learning in baseball. I love it. It's awesome.
Yeah, man.
It's awesome. And listen, guys, come on. Everyone's going to have their own idea of how they think the team should be ran, how they think baseball should be. Look, we're not out here asking Marty to agree with us. Everyone is going to have their own idea. Marty's going to have his own idea. I'm going to have my own ideas. Dan's going to have his own ideas. We're not here to get on everyone's bandwagon. Come on. Everyone has their own ideas.
But I'm the only one that's right. No. Just kidding.
And yes, thank you, Kyle. We hit 2,000 just before.
Awesome.
Before Marty came on, we hit 2,000.
Awesome. 2,000. Thank you, guys.
Appreciate the support, guys. You guys are awesome.
Yeah, we met some people at the ball game today. We had some fun. We had some some crazy stuff happen.
What's up, Charlotte? Yeah, we had some crazy stuff happen.
we had some crazy stuff happen, and that show is no longer around. Oh man. But
if any of you guys attended the live broadcast, you guys were in for a treat. It no longer exists. That has been
it no longer exists. Yeah, it is forever been dismantled. Thanks, Mike. Yeah. I got reprimanded. That's part of the reason we ended up closing the live stream down. The Diamondbacks ushers, there were people complaining in the stands around us that I was disturbing them with my play-by-play, which was crazy. While other people are just yelling, at whatever, this or that. But hey, it's okay. It's okay. But, I had to cool it, or they were going to escort me out of the stadium. I was going to.
You didn't even do nothing wrong.
No, I didn't do anything. I was just like talking.
Dan was perfectly. He didn't cuss. He made no gestures. No, it was perfectly fine. It's just he was talking a little bit loud. That's all.
Yeah, and I was talking loud because I couldn't hear myself too much, and I was because of the noise, and so I thought I had to talk a little louder. Once I realized that my mic was picking up, I didn't need to, and that's when I started talking like I even was playing around like I was doing a golf. I said,
you did say that. I forgot about that. You did say that. You did say that.
Tiger.
That was under his breath.
Yeah,
that was under his breath.
Tiger Slater up to the plate. He takes up. Oh, he's getting ready to swing. And I started talking real soft, and then they came and talked to me about that, and they said, "Hey," and I said, and I didn't want to argue with them because if you argue with sometimes you argue with the wrong guy, and they said, "That's enough," you're gone.
Yeah.
And
heave ho.
So I was like, "Fine, we'll just shut it down."
Yeah, went a little bit nuts on the Ramos. Yeah, that was pretty. That Ramos home run call was high energy. That was high.
I didn't realize I got that excited. I was.
Did you see? I mean, that was high energy.
Yeah, and I didn't even get a good call on it. I was just. It happened so fast because he hit it. And I go, oh my, I didn't get to announce the pitch coming, so it was kind of funny. But anyway,
can you reenact it, Dan? That's what they're asking you.
Reenact what?
The call.
I think I can.
Yeah, hold on. Here we go. Hold on.
I think I can.
Give me a minute. We'll have it ready for you shortly.
Yeah. Monster Slam still Monster Slam was was fun.
Here we go.
In San Francisco.
There's a drive, long drive to deep left center field. Is it in the park? It is gone. Elliot Ramos. That's where we go. Elliot Ramos. Yeah, baby. That is your future right there. That's what you play. Elliot Ramos. Man, 2-1 Giants. There's a drive.
You know what's funny, Dan? You must have had so many confused. You got a Diamondbacks hat on, and you're going absolutely ape shit over a Giants home run. I bet you had some confused people sitting around you.
I had this Giants fan looking at me because I wore the D-backs. There was a lot of Giants fans. I'll tell you what I'm going to do next time I go in September.
Yes, he wore a D-backs hat.
When I go to the Diamondbacks Giants game in September, I am going to print up thousands of cards and hand them out to Giants fans to listen to subscribe. And you know what we're going to do? And anybody else that is already subscribed will be able to enter. We're going to come up with some kind of contest where we give away a signed jersey or something.
That'd be cool.
So
that would be cool.
Yeah. So
good luck trying to get one from a Giants player.
I can get Matos if he's here. I can get Sable. I could probably get.
You know what?
I don't think I'll get Austin Slater.
Hey, we could get Senior Son to help us out. He gets all the good autograph stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, you get a little kid to ask for. Hey, can you sign this jersey, and then we can use it for our show.
we'll get a Casey. We'll get a Casey Schmidt. We can get Casey Schmidt. I could tell you some guys we won't get.
Yeah.
We could get Lamont Wade. The problem is getting access to those guys because the Giants aren't going to give me access to them.
No. Nope.
So
custom slash jersey. There you go.
Oh gosh, that would be hilarious.
Get half the number with a dat or with a slash. You got Slater's number and then Yaz's number. Yeah, there you go.
Somebody said who asked for that?
Side up.
I think it was who did I see put that up? Said play the Grand Slam call. It was Brian Iglesias. Brian, you got the Grand Slam call in San Diego.
That wasn't Grand Slam. That was just the
home run call. The home run call. We have that?
Yeah, we got it. Yeah, it's right here. I don't even have to. Yeah, it's right here.
I thought that was a better call because I was doing play-by-play.
That was a good call because you were a little bit higher above the action.
Yeah, and I had a good view of it. The one today, I was low, and so I couldn't tell if it was going to make it out. And then I wasn't ready because I was looking down or something. It's whatever, and then all of a sudden I didn't announce. If you notice, I didn't say the pitch. Here comes the pitch. I just said boom. All of a sudden the ball was hit, and it was like, oh gosh, I better get going on it.
Oh, I know what he's talking about. The Grand Slam call with Flores. You just went, oh yeah, Flores hit it. I think it's out of here. It's a Grand Slam. I remember because you were afraid of saying anything loud. It was during the live stream. Oh. Yeah, remember? You were like, oh, Flores hits a shot. It's a Grand Slam.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
all you did.
Karen ruined the Grand Slam call. Oh gosh.
That was great.
Is that
look at that? Wilmer hits a long one. It's deep. It's got a chance. Yeah, it's a Grand Slam.
Oh gosh. Oh my goodness. I was not calling it on the Soler homer. I would have got it.
No, we were already off the air.
Hey, you know what we're gonna do next time? Los We figured it out.
Don't cuss.
No. We're going to go up in the third deck where nobody's around
Yes.
us within 5 sections. We'll be
Yes.
up there. We'll be up there. The only people that'll be upset would be, well, I'd say the birds, but there's no birds inside the dome. So,
yes. When you're down there at that lower level, yeah, it's a little.
Oh, yeah. We were down there with the, so I mean, the people around us. The guy that was on the air with us today.
That guy was cool as hell, man.
Yeah, he did the second inning or something for the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, hey, if you're out there watching, appreciate that, man. You were awesome. That was a good time.
Yeah, he did ball games for KTR Radio down here in Arizona. Phoenix Suns, Arizona Cardinals. He was totally into sports. Really cool guy.
Yeah, I mean, heck, he didn't have to do that, but he said I had a conversation with him. He was awesome.
Yeah. But Karen,
maybe I have to cut. Maybe
some of the Karens. It's too bad. So maybe we should. Well, it's too bad. We kind of closed the whole thing, but you can actually re-put it back up, huh?
I could. It's still in StreamYard.
Yeah, we can edit it out and get all the
just that part. Yeah.
Well, half the battle was with Karen.
Yeah.
Gosh. I went down and talked to her. I don't know if you guys heard me. I'm down there.
Yeah, we picked it up.
I'm talking to the usher, and I said to her, "Hey, look, can I just, well, people are complaining around you." Then security comes and says, "There's cameras around." I'm like, I'm just talking. I'm just sitting here now talking. Can I just talk like this? And, I won't scream or yell. I'll just talk. It's like, we've been getting too many. It's like, whatever. I'll just shut it down. Just shut it down.
Did they give you any more grief after?
After the security? No, because I didn't say
no. After we closed down the live stream.
No
issues.
No. We were just, gosh, I don't even drink, so I'm just sitting there. Fine, I'm not. It's like I'm just enjoying a baseball game. My goodness, I wasn't obnoxious, like trying to yell at people or talk to other people, or it's like, whatever. I did the same thing in San Diego on Wilmer Flores' call. I was much louder on that.
Yeah, you were. Oh, speaking of which, no. They actually went. Never mind. That was the Grand Slam they were talking about.
Yeah. So, yeah, exactly. I think Farhan sent Karen to break up the stream.
Oh, brother.
Well, it was a big inning. They got 6 runs.
That was
a Slater hit to right field, and then it was the Ramos home
2-run shot. Yeah.
Ramos was batting second, right?
Yeah, he hit right behind.
Yeah, and then it was hit, walk, hit. I can't even remember exactly the sequence, but then it was the Flores Grand Slam, and then later it was the big home run by Soler for a solo shot, a Solero. Boy, did he hit that thing, man!
That was a mile and I or miles.
Yeah, that was
mile in the air.
That was blasted. But we had a bad angle from the plate. Unless you're behind the plate, you can't tell where the pitch is. A lot of them, the calls. It looked like to me a lot of calls that were getting called balls to right-handed batters were just on the inside of the plate, and he was calling. Were they touching the box, or were they out of the? Were they?
Some of them were out of the zone.
Okay, because they look kind of pretty good. I'm thinking
the one that Yaz was complaining about that was like right at the very bottom of this. I mean, like the top of the seam would have hit the bottom of the zone.
Okay, but it was
close.
Yeah,
it was enough. It was enough.
Close enough. Okay. Yeah. Hey, well, yep.
And then, of course, like I said, I was watching that at bat, and I was like, man, Yaz is trying to draw a walk just to walk in a run. I was like, this is weak.
Yeah.
This is weak.
Yeah, Mike says thoughts on Matos being sent down. I personally don't like it.
Yeah, we need to get into that.
I don't like it. I think it's but I understand one thing. They're going to play. See, this is what I disagree with. I would play Conforto Matos, and Ramos around in that order, left to right.
Right.
Conforto, Matos, Ramos. And I would use Yaz in certain situations. You could pinch hit him, maybe in a key situation. Doesn't have to be for Matos. Definitely shouldn't be for Ramos, but maybe he pinch hits for the shortstop.
Mm-hmm.
And he becomes your, one of your key left-handed off the bench bats. This is what good teams, in my opinion, do. They don't use all of their, they don't use all their bullets early, and they don't just substitute. They don't go, okay, well, he plays Matos' position, and Matos, this is a lefty-righty situation. I'm going to platoon Matos here, and I'm going to bring in Yaz for him. No, What they really do is they pinch hit for their weakest link in the lineup, and that would be someone like Ahmed, and you need the run, and so you bring up, you need a long ball, you need a big hit, you take out Ahmed, and you bring up Yaz, and then you do a double. You could do like a double switch, and maybe you put Yaz out in right field for defensive purposes or whatever, but just use him to pinch hit. You don't have to always take out Matos or Ramos just because, because these guys have proven they can hit right-handed pitching. Yep. I mean, how many RBIs did Ramos get that week? And most of it came off right-handed pitching.
Right.
So stop you have to, it's just crazy. You don't have to just pinch hit for, would they ever pinch hit for Chapman? No, nope. But why not? He doesn't hit a lot he doesn't. I mean, if you got Lamont Wade on the bench and you're down to your last out or so, and you got a 230 hitter in Chapman, you got a 300 plus hitter in Wade, why wouldn't you? Right. Because they won't do it though, because there's a pecking order.
Well, that too. Who's going to play third base?
Well, what happens if you're in the bottom of the ninth?
That's different. Yeah, that's totally different.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. But they wouldn't do it. They would send Chapman up.
Yeah.
And and let's say it's a guy that Chapman struggles with. They still wouldn't do it. They'd send Chapman up because he's, had quote unquote,
And a lot of it has to do with, you're paying on the big bucks. This is what he's supposed to be paid to do, right?
Yeah. But if he's not,
and Marty alluded to that with Slater. The reason why he's up is because they paid him for him. I said that. It's because they're paying the money.
Right. But
it's interesting. And Marty did mention before we get out of here, because we're going a little bit long, is Farhan has got his hands in the lineup. Kind of figured that, didn't we?
Yeah. I no doubt. But I think the pinch hit, my whole thing on the Matos, I think he proved what he could do.
Yeah.
And
I just don't think he was optimized at the top as the leader. If he was hitting down below, would he have hit the same? Maybe not. We don't know, because they kept him in the leadoff position so long.
Look, I just hope they haven't messed with his head too much, that he's he's one of the biggest reasons they went.
I don't know, maybe not, because it sounds like from what Marty said, a lot of the clubhouse guys were, bidding him farewell. So
of course the players love him.
Yeah.
But is he dejected? Is he on a flight back to Sacramento going, dang, I'm
sure Ramos probably had a little discussion with him. I'm sure. Because Ramos right now is kind of maybe like the big brother out of all of them, between Matos, Ramos, and Luciano.
Yeah, he is. He's the 24-year-old
he's the elder.
kid. He's, we're seeing guys that I would like to see kids at 22, 23 excel and be able to get the cobwebs, so to speak, out of their system. I get it if you got better players ahead of you, but I don't think there's better players ahead of them. I don't think Yaz and Slater are better than Matos. I just don't. Convince me otherwise.
You can't.
Convince me, because I'm open, but convince me that Yaz with a 32% or 31, and it's higher today now, because how many times did he strike out today? He had
Twice.
30, he had
struck
31,
out twice.
Okay, so he's probably 32%. Matos was at 12.
Yeah.
So he strikes out 20% more of the time. He doesn't drive in as many runs, and he hits for lower average with a higher sample size. Matos hit 250 in the big leagues last year.
Yes. And you know what I don't understand? You got Jung-Hoo Lee, who doesn't strike out a lot, but he hit a lot of ground balls. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's kind of the same. So how can you be high on Lee, but be low on Matos when they're kind of similar in that they don't strike out a lot? And they both don't walk a lot either. Yeah,
exactly. So
anyways.
Yeah, and yeah. So, I mean, Yaz hit the home run yesterday, but I don't know. I think it all comes back down to the how much you paying the guys.
Yep.
I think that's what it is. So anyway, guys, we will be. Are you doing a show tomorrow night, or?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna do a show tomorrow. You know what tomorrow is, right? There's a couple of things actually.
Tomorrow is June 6th. Is that D-Day?
That's D-Day. Tomorrow
is
I got to remember.
I just didn't even know. I just guessed.
Nice.
I remember June 6th, D-Day.
Yes, June 6th, 1944. 80 years ago was D-Day. Matter of fact,
is that Normandy? Is that Normandy?
Normandy. It would have already been taken place pretty soon, if I'm not mistaken, because it's 8 hours ahead. Wow. But yeah, I'll do a show tomorrow, and then also SpaceX is going to launch IFT number 4, the Super Heavy. It's going to launch tomorrow. 7 a.m. Central. So if you guys are early risers, 5 o'clock Pacific, if you want to watch it live, you can. It's all over YouTube. It's pretty cool. NASA spaceflight, they're pretty good. Even the SpaceX YouTube channel.
We were on tonight during the NBA Finals. Dallas took Game 1. Nice.
Oh, there we go. Who are you rooting for?
Dallas. I don't like Boston.
All right, Fossey. Cool. We'll see you there tomorrow. I'll probably go on right around 8-ish, somewhere on there between. Yeah, probably 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock's a good time.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Doesn't start till tomorrow. Who said Dallas takes Game 1. Okay.
Jim never mind.
Never mind. I was thinking that they already won.
His pick.
That's a pick. Okay. Well, let's hope. I'm not a Boston fan. Although, do I have my Red Sox hat here yet? No, it didn't arrive. What do you think of this Padre hat, by the way?
Don't care for the
brown
and gold.
How's that one look? It's kind of a weird color. The only brown team in sports that I know of. Is there another team that wears brown? UPS? Come on, tell me, guys. Who wears?
No. No one else wears brown.
Who wears brown in football?
Nobody. Yes, Jim. Kaka brown. Kaka. It's not used enough. Kaka.
Oh, the Cleveland Browns have some brown in them. Yeah.
Yeah, it's mostly orange though, ain't it?
A lot of orange, but there's
a lot of orange, but there's a little brown. But it's not as Jim would say, Kaka brown.
Yeah. The Cleveland Browns. Well, you'd think there'd be brown with the Cleveland Browns, right?
You would think so.
Wonder how they came up with that name, Browns.
How did they come up with the name Brown?
Oh, jeez. Perfect show gone bad.
You asked the question. How do you come up with Browns? There you go.
Oh, Paul Brown, the owner. That's right. That's right. I knew that. That's right. Thank you, Senior and Will.
There you go.
And Senior and Will, I'm going to get ready to go to bed. I want to see some trade proposals coming my way.
Damn, Dan.
I just like the trades. Who cares about the lineup?
Dan, the first thing you have to do is admit you have a problem. It's the first step.
Yeah, that's first step. Step 1. Hi, I'm Dan. 1. I'm a trading addict. Giants are beating the Rangers, Dan. Do you believe me? Oh, Steven, I believe in you. Everything you say.
Hanging on every word, Stephen.
I believe in you, Stephen. I'm sure they will beat the Rangers once.
Maybe. We'll see.
Although Corey
Texas
Seager
haven't been paying very well, yeah.
Corey Seager went down with a tight hamstring tonight. So
of course, he's on your team.
Of course, yeah. But he will probably, my guess is, miss Friday's game and maybe the whole series if they put him on the IL. But if it's just a tightness where, he can pinch
He'll be out probably a week or two.
Probably. These hammies, man. Just too many hammies.
Yep.
Man. TNT broadcasters called Kyrie and Luka the best backcourt in NBA history. Fossey said, wow, that's debatable. I mean, you got obviously the Splash Brothers, but I can see Luka's a phenomenal player, probably better than Clay. Steph's better than Kyrie, but Kyrie's right up there with Steph. He can do more magic with the ball than Steph. He's probably the greatest magician with the ball that I've ever seen. But I don't know. Dan, it's not debatable. What is not debatable? Are you taking cryptic? Are you saying the Splash Brothers are the best? I mean, I don't think anybody is better shooters than the Splash Brothers. I don't see that. But Luka could do more than Clay with the ball, and Kyrie is pretty phenomenal. But I mean, I'll take Steph over Kyrie as an all-around player. But Kyrie, when he's heads in the game, is pretty amazing. The problem with Kyrie is you never know when he's going to go AWOL on you.
Huh.
Yeah.
All right. You ready to close it down?
Let's close it down with a fastball.
There we go.
Coming right at you. 2-seamer or 4-seamer you want?
How about a sinker? 2-seamer.
Well, my sinker, I've got a new pitch. It's called the thread pitch.
Hey, there you go. I think it would be hard to hit.
Can you hit that thing if I throw it with the thread? Just a thread?
A thread?
A thread. This ball has a little thread right there. See it?
Yep.
But this ball, I don't know what the other ball did. But anyway, I like my favorite pitch probably is throwing. The one I have the most control is the 2-seamer. I can just I do pretty good with the 4-seamer too.
4-seamer.
Yeah. You know what I like to do? I was pitching as little as about 4 or 5 years ago in my house with a tennis ball. And I had down the hall, and I would just put a little plate up on the garage door, the one that's solid door, not the hollow doors, the solid door. And I just put a little target in there, and I would just throw tennis balls off it, and I used to try and see if I can get 27 outs, throw a perfect game. Nice. If I didn't want to walk anybody. It's fun. You got to try it.
Nice.
Yeah. Just use a good. I don't even know if it was actually a tennis ball, but it was a rubber ball that would bounce back to you. So
Yeah, so you can go.
Yeah.
So it comes back to you.
Yeah, so it comes back to you. I'm not sitting there going down.
That's a lot of freaking walking.
Yeah, exactly. So all right, guys. Thanks for joining. Join Eric's show tomorrow night.
Yeah, tomorrow I'm going to go around 8 o'clock tomorrow night.
8 o'clock, Military History Chronicles.
We'll talk about D-Day again. I know I already had a show about D-Day, but we could talk about it again. And also talk about the Starship launch. Yeah. IFT number 4.
And
should be cool.
Friday night, the Giants play at 5 o'clock. We'll come on. Let's Cody from Even Year Dynasty Show will be joining us to talk Giants baseball and update us on the minors, Giants farmhands, what's going on down in the minor leagues. So that will be a show that will start. You want to go at 8 or 8:30 Friday?
It's up to you. It don't matter to me. What would be better?
Oh gosh. It's Friday night. Maybe I don't know. A lot of people go to dinner on Friday nights and get home a little later, don't they?
Yeah, I'm gonna go 8:30. That's fine.
Yeah, let's go 8:30.
8:30 Friday night.
Yeah, Giants game will end about probably 7:45.
Yeah, I'll see if Vince will come. Maybe this weekend or something. We'll see.
Yeah. All right. Very cool. Yeah.
Right on, Val. Appreciate that, Val.
Will, senior, send me senior, send me some decent trades. Come on. Stop trying to take away. Senior, if I would have accepted that last trade, there would have been that you sent me or that you countered, you would have been put in jail by the league for insubordination of a commissioner. Insubordination of senior. All right,
thanks,
guys.
Kyle. Appreciate it.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for the 2,000 subs.
Yeah, awesome. Appreciate the guest, Marty Lurie. That was awesome. He came on and was able to talk an hour and a half with us. That was awesome baseball talk.
Yes, it was. Yep, it was.
Again, catch me tomorrow, 8:00, right around there. And then NorCal Sports Network Friday night, 8:30. Even Year Dynasty will be here with us, Cody. All right, guys. See you.
And will I be wearing this hat, or will I be wearing a Rangers hat?
A Rangers hat. We'll find out.
We'll find out.
All right. Yeah. See you guys Friday night. I'll see you tomorrow night. Woo!